everyone, quite a crowd. I'm going to tell you a story about Chris. A few years ago, I started to work in an agency, small team, and there was this piece of software that was mission critical. Everything was running on that. And that was built by Chris and the other team, but a lot of people had problems. And they asked me, Gus, you're leading this team, you need to fix that. Started to look around, trying to find my way, and wow, saw more red flags than a game of Minesweeper. It was messy, like a lot of tiny details, typos, unreachable code, returns with statements after, things that people don't do wrong. So I started asking, not what is going on here, but how did we get here? So I started looking around, processes were fine, requirements were properly made, everything was working, barely, but working. So I started to do more digging. Chris, how do you build stuff? Oh yeah, I got the requirements, build it. How do you build stuff? Oh yeah, do the things. Now tell me exactly. Yeah, I open my computer, I click start, and I open Notepad. What? How long have you been doing this? 5, 6 years. You've been coding all your career on Notepad, and no one knew about that. Sounds absurd, true, but I started to look around, ask other people, ask friends, developers, managers, and I found an unsettling truth. Managers mostly assume engineers know their tools. We take for granted, yeah, you're a coder, you know how to use VS Code, Xcode, whatever you're using. So, and surprisingly, when I was talking to a lot of people, they don't even consider the very own thing in front of your face as a tool. Well, that's unsettling. So we spend a lot of time thinking about managing people, how to improve this, that process, Kanban, Scrumban, I don't know what's coming next, but the very own thing in your face, we should give more thought on that. And, well, and that affects deeply the productivity, how you do your job. Because if all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Chris was doing his job, yes, it was working, yes, but he was bashing his way through instead of crafting, like having something finally crafted. And, well, that also affects his debugging process, which was quite unique, but I don't have time for that. So this talks a lot about developer experience, user experience. If you want to craft very good experience for your users, your stakeholders, well, it's more than fair that you also have a great experience. Every detail matters. Sometimes the tiny bit is probably slugging you down. So that brings me to a Swedish saying that I like a lot. There's no such a thing as bad weather, only bad clothing. And Chris was definitely naked. So let's jump to another story. Susan was an intern doing summer internship at a company. And one day she was having one problem and asked me to do a pair programming session. We sit down, I explain. She had a lot of questions thereafter. Her questions were not about the problem. Her questions were like a toddler asking me, why is this looking like that? Why are you using this weird font? Why is this dark? And because light attracts bugs, but I was actually figuring out that Susan was using the vanilla settings of her editor. She never gave some thought on her tools. She was not thinking about why are we doing things like this. So that got me thinking, yeah, a lot of people don't think on how we work. And that's a question I always bring to my teams now. Why is that? Why are we doing that? Let's think about work. Show me around. What's your thought process? How do you solve problems? And more important, how do you set things in your face that you're going to be staring all day long in a way that is best for you. How does that make you calm? How you can use that to overcome problems, to not have distractions, or just to make the process seamless. So this brings me to the story of Miguel. Miguel works with me today. Started working with him 6 months ago when I joined Dev. And we started alongside the team, but we started talking about this. And a few weeks ago, he told me, he gave me a feedback. These are basically his words, not mine. How a thoughtful environment should work, and we're talking about the thing in your screen, not work environment and colleagues, even though that could apply. How these little things improve your state of mind, your health, your attitude. It's just like the story of Chris. If you're not bashing things through, but you're doing that in a nice pace, well thought, when you can breathe in, breathe out, things will work in a way better flow. So what does Chris, Susan, and Miguel have in common? Well, the very thing in their face was locking their full potential. So what happened to them? Well, they lived happily ever after. Actually, Susan finished her scholarship, internship, and went directly to big tech. Miguel was promoted a week ago, and Chris is working on his thing, and last time I spoke with him, he never used a notepad again. So that's it, folks. Hope you enjoyed my talk, and say hello at Twitter, Gus Fune, and we can share stories, tips, and everything.